Thank you very much, D-Man. Welcome to the 2014 European Challenger Series, brought to you in part by our friends at Coca-Cola. I am David Freak Turley, and alongside me is Joshua Jat Leisman. How's it going, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, we just got to watch some European LCS. Now we get to watch some pretty important Challenger games against two very unknown teams.
Yeah, very unknown. We're going to see what they bring for us here. So tonight, Tick, Trick, and Duck take on Storm Games Clan in a best-of-3 quarterfinal in the Challenger Series.
Yeah, and the winner will move to the semifinals, where they'll face the Ninjas in Pajamas in the semifinals, which are on February 6th.
But, of course, don't take our word for it. Here's the Challenger bracket itself. You can see where all the teams stack up. Like Jat said, NIP is sitting in the semifinals waiting for the winner of tonight's matchup. Down on the bottom half of the bracket, it's next week's 2 quarterfinal matches.
Yeah, and coming up next Thursday, January 30th, it's actually the former LCS participants Meet Your Makers versus a team called Eyes on You. And then on Friday, the 31st, it's Cloud9 HyperX Eclipse taking on Pulse Esports.
And those are some names you guys definitely will remember. And, of course, guys, the winners today move on to the semifinals, but the teams that come up short in the quarters still walk away with cash, challenger points, and a chance to compete in the spring's second series that kicks off in just about a month.
Yeah, and if you want more challenger info, be sure to head over to lolesports.com. It's all there. Pull down on the Leagues and Tournaments tab, and then choose the EU Challenger Series. There you'll find everything you need to upgrade your challenger knowledge.
Yeah, you don't have to be Heimerdinger to upgrade that. Now, guys, let's get to it. The first round in the scheduled best-of-3 quarterfinal. It's going to be Tick, Trick, and Duck versus Storm Games Clan, and on paper, it's a pretty even match. TTD is the 4th seed, SGC is 5th, but one interesting fact, though, is that Storm Games Clan is the only team left out of the 12 European, Nordic, and East teams that made it to Challenger Series so far.
Yeah, and Storm's Game Clan, we got to note, 5th seed out of the EUNE. Their first game, they beat Inferno Esports, who was a pretty hyped team, in just over 35 minutes. But in the next round, they actually got a forfeit victory over Reason Gaming. So I'm not actually sure how strong this team's going to be. But in their one win, it was their solo laners that stepped up. Their mid laner, Mia, went 8-2-9 as Ziggs, while their top laner, Cavalier, went 4-1-11 on Shyvana.
Yeah, so while SGC got a bit of a pass into the quarterfinals, Tick, Trick, and Duck did it the old-fashioned way. They earned it with 2 convincing wins.
Yeah, Tick, Trick, and Duck, maybe TTD a few times. They took out the team called Team Champions in their first play-in game. Then they took down Team for Nothing to win their way out of that group. And the 2 guys who carried hardest for TTD in the wins were obviously their mid laner Snow and their AD carry Sunny XX, who we're going to be calling Sunny. Snow, when it combined 14-3-6 in the 2 wins in mid lane on Kha'Zix and Ziggs, whereas Sunny played Jinx both games and went 15-3-13. And one thing to note is this team has actually ran a Jinx Leona bot lane in both of their games. Bonaparte 313 used Leona, of course, so there's a chance they're going to try and disrupt this in this match.
I feel like that's going to happen here. You have records that you can track these players with, right? Playing on the tournament realm, you can look at their match histories even directly and see what they've been playing. So I feel like the teams that have been successful have looked at those prior matches and found out what was played last time.
Especially because these are best of ones. So there's no way, especially these teams, who I think are both kind of underdogs, there's no way they were hiding strategies in their best of one play-ins to get to this stuff. They were always trying to play their absolute best, most comfortable stuff.
And you've seen teams pull out really crazy things as well. I know we cast the Yasuo Trundle game a little while back.
That was pretty good. Are they still in the tournament?
No, they got knocked down by NIP.
Well,
they won the first game convincingly.
That's true. I remember that was yesterday, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, but of course SK Prime, the team we're talking about.
Those games got a little out of hand.
They got rough really quick. But we are here, the Gragas band away from Mia, the picks and bans, of course, starting right here. The thing is, I'm always surprised when bans take 20 seconds, because I feel like you shouldn't be surprised by much of this. You should have been prepping for your opponents already.
Especially like the very first ban, and be like, so, do we want to go with Nocturne or one of the other 3 things we had planned?
Yeah.
Like, well, let's hope they can get this done faster. Obviously, though, actually a fair amount of target bans coming in here. Nocturne, very fittingly banned against the jungler called Nightmare.
Yes.
So I knew you were going to... I preempted it. I had to get in before. You should make a pun.
It was going to be next for me.
Yeah. And yeah, Draven, of course,
worst
is also
ADC West.
for worst ADC West.
Yeah,
who was from Nordic East.
Yes.
Yes.
That's okay.
Getting it all out in the front, so we can't go to it later.
Nothing left here. When SGC's mid laner goes somewhere else on the map, it's so-and-so's Mia.
And also Snow, he likes the Snow Day skin, but it's not seasonal, so we can't play it.
But it's January. What do you...
Yeah, but we actually can't play seasonal skins on the tournament.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Okay. Although, ironically, Snow and Sunny on the same team, I feel like that's contradictory. We're done.
We're done.
All right, so the Jinx, you talked about it,
this.
banned away from Sunny. Looks like he's not going to be playing that one. Kassadin dropped away. A lot of mid lane bans coming through here against Mia, in addition to ADC West's Draven.
Yeah, well, I think the Jinx is what we talked about in the pregame. It's to disrupt Sunny. Annie doesn't necessarily disrupt the TTD support. I wouldn't be too surprised, actually, if SGC decides to pick up a Leona fairly quickly.
Yeah, we'll see if they seal it well. I'm actually a little bit surprised as well by the Annie ban, just because we've seen that a lot less recently.
It's really diminished.
Yeah.
Especially on the 4.1 patch with the reduced stun durations. However, it's still going to happen. She's still got that ridiculous auto attack range. A 1.25 second stun is still an on-demand stun.
Yes, it is.
And while she's taken down a notch, I understand the ban.
Yeah, going from 11 to 10, still a 2-digit number up there. It's one of the only supports I see go 15 AD on Marks and Quints, just so you can throw 65 damage fireballs at
well, it's
a
a really
giant range.
It's a really interesting thing because the Annie auto attack really fits perfectly for harassing as a support. It's a terrible auto attack for last hitting because the projectile flies so slowly. But if you're harassing, you just want to get it out and then get out of there as fast as possible, and it's always going to land for the harass.
Yeah. Helps you drop Turret Aggro just in case you needed it. But SGC making their picks right here. Renekton top lane, Vi in the jungle. They've even matched with their own roles, so made it easier to swap.
Well, especially with the minor nerf to Shyvana, and obviously in the previous patch, the mastery nerfs that probably hit Mundo a little harder than other champions, Renekton is going to maybe become the dominant force once again.
Yeah.
Obviously, in Europe today, we got to see Wicked play Trundle against Renekton and do quite well. Trundle's going to be making a big comeback, but Renekton, you must be this tall to play top lane, and he's always that tall.
He is a very tall top laner. No Yordles allowed up there, unfortunately. But Elise and Thresh pulled through. Actually, a little bit surprising to see Elise get through to the 4th pick, just because a lot of teams will first pick her to make sure she comes in.
Absolutely. I think that's just the specialty of these teams. I've definitely seen a lot more quirks in these challenger teams than we see in LCS teams.
Yeah.
People who don't necessarily have the same accepted roster of powerful champions. I mean, that's why I think there's that Zyra pick even. That's most likely, we were talking about earlier, Lula's support pick.
Yep. Because
he hasn't played the Thresh and the Annie that everyone else has been playing.
No.
He's more about the Karma and the Zyra and the really far back peeling or counter-engage supports.
Yeah, even Lulu is playing a bunch on live, but not even a tinge of Leona, Annie, etc. So the Thresh coming through here looks like without Jinx, TTD says, you know what, we'll just pick a whole different bot lane here. And they get choice of AD carry. They know they're fighting Renekton top lane, and looking like they're maybe thinking Mundo's going to be the man to face up against him.
I think Mundo's the right pick for them in this situation, since Renekton beats almost everyone in lane, and Mundo is generally just trying to turtle the entire laning phase anyway. So therefore, no one's going to beat Renekton, but Mundo has been shown to at least be able to survive it, and he gets substantially better late game.
Yes, he does. Oh, we'll see how this one plays out. The rest of the team lineup has come through. Ziggs mid was the first pick. Got the jungle Elise. The Thresh Lucian bottom lane here. So we can do look for these guys. And again, the Mundo you talked about.
Yeah, I wonder what SGC's going with the last pick here. They got a mid laner most likely. Obviously, that we could see a Zyra mid because these teams are crazy sometimes. Going up against a Ziggs. Yasuo, unfortunately, is disabled. Because his bug fix turning around's a whole different story. Sometimes they don't make it in and be stable, so it was deemed too risky. And this Nidalee is definitely developing a bit of a poke composition synergy here. They want to synergize with Nidalee, Caitlyn, and Zyra for the long-range poke. I don't think he's going to be able to do too much against Snow Ziggs, though.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to get pushed in a little bit in the early game here, but so poke guys, a good front line, though, for Storm Games clan. Certainly Renekton to win his lane early on, and I guess normally when I see teams run Renekton, they get the lane win, they get him ahead, they get him to like the first item, and then the successful ones then group up and actually do things with
roam around the map a lot.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, and you've got Nidalee poke, right? You've got Zyra to disengage when they come at you, the Caitlyn siege, like there's a whole lot of elements there that should make that work. NIP failed to do that actually yesterday. In their first game, Renekton, like 0-0 was massive, killed the turret, 50 minion kill lead, and then he kept trying to roam mid and nothing happened for them. Yeah,
exactly. So what's going to be very key for Storm's game clan in this matchup is that the Renekton leaving the lane will synergize with Nidalee having a key item completed, so that when he does start roaming, they can actually put substantial siege or turret pressure and then kind of dare the fights out. They also need to try to make sure that the dragon doesn't get taken like in between the roams. Based on that, you know, even though they have two lanes that I think are stronger, with the Renekton versus Mundo and then the Caitlyn Zyra against Lucian Thresh, The Nidalee is substantially weaker than the Ziggs, and it'll be very interesting to see if that mid lane, since it's the most important lane to win, I think, can overcome the other 2 lanes being weaker by default.
Yeah, not to mention you're fighting up against a jungle Elise here that TikTok and Duck picked up on their second rotation here. So maybe a lot of bases covered for these guys. We'll see SGC really a lot more unknown about them. We'll see. And at the same time, I kind of like that a lot's unknown about them because they're also running just a little bit of unorthodox.
Absolutely.
People aren't surprised that Zyra exists, but at least in the last couple of months, people haven't been playing against her much.
Yeah, it's been something that people are very not used to seeing, and it used to be the pick that people would use against very heavy dive compositions, people that really wanted to go for someone. They'd get locked up in all of Zyra's roots and knockups. But that was also, I think, when we were seeing a little bit more burst, not as much tankiness in the game. And I feel like since Mundo's going to be diving alone, and also has inherent tenacity from his W, that it won't be as effective as Zyra used to be. I'm not too sold on the Zyra pick for disengage in this match, especially because I think they could have used some extra sustain or at least shielding outside of just the Nidalee, knowing so early on that they're up against the Ziggs and the Mundo poke.
Yeah, do you think more would work better against things like Riven?
Where
you were talking about like
exactly.
tanks versus burst.
Riven would be like the perfect thing to pick Zyra into because you'd lock him down. He wouldn't be able to do all the jumpy crap. She wouldn't be able to do all the jumpy crap.
Jumpy crap.
Yeah, and you'd just be able to burst her down.
All right, well, we'll see what SGC can do with this anyway. Javelin's coming around from Mia. Looks like nothing too special. Early trinket games are happening. People seem pretty happy overall. And we're going to see, looks like standard lanes once again for these guys. Renekton Mundo looking towards the top lane. They are actually going to be helping their junglers up there as well. So both these duo lanes looking to get an early edge in their lane, and it'll be kind of a wash.
Yeah, I really want to see, actually, how these early lanes go, because I'm really not sold on Storm's game plan. I think the fact that they made it in here due to the circumstances of a forfeit win mean they're like a complete wild card here. They weren't very known coming in. They're in this weird part of the bracket. You know, none of these players are actually that well known in the competitive scene. And we know we've had NIP, MIM, all these other really big name teams come in here and either be slow or perform. But these teams I know very little about, and I feel like just by the fact that TTD came out of the EU West bracket and SGC was the 5th seed in the EU NE bracket and the last EU NE team in this, it's just a tall task, just based off of where they come from and the relative power that those regions are perceived to have.
Yeah, they're the only EUNE team that made it past the first round, really. Even like the number 1, number 2 seed were in some very close, to be fair, but upset wins against the EUS team. So maybe they're the diamond in the rough right here. Looks like the early laning phase starting good dodge in the hook there by these guys, but all right, Zyra getting some decent damage back onto the poor little Thresh guy.
That's one thing that this lane actually used to be known for. I remember back, I think Candy Panda and Nif were the first people I saw running this lane. The auto attack harass from these two is just absurd. Zyra, as far as supports go, you know how we talked about Annie like not having the smoothest like last hitting auto attack frame? Zyra does. Like auto attacking is just so smooth with Zyra. Same with Caitlyn. They both have an extremely high amount of range, 650 for Caitlyn, 575 for Zyra, and they harass beautifully. But they're trying to get pushed in. That's why the buy gank came around the Dragon Pit.
Jumps around almost every single ward. I think literally every single ward has been dodged here. They do not know that GladIQ
really
is
nice
here.
Work.
That's beautiful play.
He's just waiting for his Valkyrie to come back up because it's a really long cooldown, and he's here now. Let's see how they try to dodge this one. Thresh has got to get back first so we can throw a Lantern out.
Okay, he's got the slow onto Sunny, the pull onto GladIQ, the dash in, and the flays as well. Can they get more damage on a Bonaparte? No, but it does burn Sunny's flash.
You know what happened there? He didn't have his Lantern yet on Thresh.
No.
He was level 2. He had his hook and his E. Otherwise, Sunny would have been able to save all of his summoners, and Thresh would have been the one who flashed back.
And I was actually interested to see that Sunny did learn his dash at level 2 instead of the Ardent Blaze, his W, for more damage. He's like, you know, actually, I'm just going to make sure nothing stupid happens to me, and ended up being a very good choice.
I kind of feel like, obviously I wasn't paying super close attention to his skill order, but I feel like he probably sat on having his Q skilled up once he leveled, and didn't level the next skill until he really needed it. Knowing that there was a high danger for a gank, it would be the smart move to not skill up something until you're about to use it. I would recommend that in any position.
Yeah, very smart choice right here. Looks like the top lane is what we're looking at right now. Phantom Joe and Cavalier, but here comes Nightmare. Level 4, the first dash used by Cavalier. Second one actually might have already been popped,
nice
or didn't get the dash at all. And that's just going to be a kill straight up. I don't think he hit an enemy minion on his slice.
I think he did, except he got stunned, and the timer for doing the dice may have ran out. I could be wrong on that, but either way, that is a misplay by him because he didn't use this 2 halves of his slice and dice, and he didn't use the flash because once he realized he could have flashed away, he would have already been dead. That is a monster misplay there.
Well, absolutely beautiful gank here then by Tick, Trick, and Duck. Nightmare making this one happen. Glad IQ saying, hey, get away from my jungle. But is a level behind. Still the lead in health bars. Phantom Joe makes him run away. Looks like the second golem will disappear here, but Tick, Trick, and Duck, all right, early lead, 800 gold.
Yeah, already a pretty big lead. This is maybe a fear that SGC would have coming in here. They can't fall behind like this, Freak, in this game, because if Renekton especially isn't there to transition down and help with the Nidalee siege, knowing that, it will be a very difficult game for them if Renekton falls behind.
All right, SGC, work is cut out for you. Can these guys do it? Chilling in the bottom lane. Again, we saw the gank happen earlier on from Vi. Not much happened afterwards, and these guys are basically trading farm right now. Both these guys have backed once, and what I like to see is a different build slightly. Pickaxe early grab. And the thing is, I've seen Pickaxe start AD carry a couple of different times.
Yeah.
And they don't always just like go eye edge off of that. They'll just sit there, finish the Bloodthirster, be like, well, now my last Whisper is faster.
They sit on the Pickaxe for as long as possible, and the reason they would buy it is they have that 875 gold, and they don't necessarily want to buy Berserker Greaves, but they just want the flat attack damage for bullying in the lane. Or to reach some breakpoints, like our Piltover Peacemaker, for instance, will clear the back wave, and once she gets, I think, level 5, she can hit it once and then get auto attacks on the back wave. I could be wrong on that one, but it does give her that auto attack power.
Yeah, I know that like with Vayne, if you go Rune King, you pretty much can't kill any of the minions in 3 attacks. They all get to like 12 health, and you're just sad at the end.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I can't last hit any of these.
Yeah.
We'll also guarantee that she can last hit any of the minions on her turret with no difficulties.
Yes,
won't need the support to help.
You are the AD carry player, after all.
Yes, sometimes AD Kitty. Here we go. We have Nidalee coming in here. Looks like damage onto Nightmare. He's going to have to run away, though, getting help from Snow. They go back in. Actually, the Cocoon lands barrier pop, and here comes Phantom Joe, already making the roam. Another flash in from all these guys.
Oh, this is bad.
Now, Nightmare's in a rough spot. Is going to die, but Glad IQ going to trade his life for that one. 2 for 1, and a double kill Mundo.
All right, so here, this is why this was so huge for TTD. The fact that Mundo, the guy who's trying to turtle the lane early, is 2-0-1, means he doesn't have to turtle the lane at any point, which means the Renekton transition is going to be slower and less effective for SGC. And also the fact that the Nidalee Tide is the other person who needs to be able to get a key item when the Renekton would make the transition. Both of these things are late, which means they may never happen.
Yeah, so Snow got 75 gold, I believe, for each assist. I guess 105 for the second one at that point because of the changes, but he's going to be sitting on a little bit more gold, a level lead as well. In addition to 11 minions, you can see him manifesting that and a bit more ability power in this lane, and I feel like Snow is going to keep pushing Mia in on a lane that you already said was going to be difficult.
Yeah. Those Mundo lanes are so difficult to deal with. It's kind of funny that I feel like the Mundo being the top lane is creating some really weird choices in top lane, and I think we're going to see a little bit more change in the LCS this week in the top lane meta, only because Mundo normally is such a non-factor in the lane. You can almost play anything against him.
Yeah. That's why we saw a bunch of Yasuo recently.
Yeah, we'd see Yasuo in the top lane. Yasuo is much stronger this patch, so you're going to kind of see him everywhere. Obviously, it allows Trundle to make comebacks, but I really think it opens the door for almost anything if you want to throw it up there. But not necessarily Renekton. Mundo's really good against Renekton.
Yeah.
Since Mundo by default is just non-interactive in lane. And all Renekton wants to do is interact and beat on someone.
And win that interaction.
So even though we see it all the time, I just wanted to touch on why Mundo is so strong against Renekton.
Well, I've been profiling actually a lot of these players on live, and a lot of these guys are spamming Tryndamere games right now. So Yasuo, until the hotfix comes out, is disabled because of a bug with his ulti. But heck, run the old Season 3 style that one. Run some Tryndamere.
You could run like a Jace, you could run Ryze, you could run
Oh man,
Swain,
I missed top Ryze.
You could run any of these things. Probably not Vladimir, because Mundo would chase him straight through his blood pool. But Rumble, I think, would be strong, especially now that Spear Visage has been nerfed down a bit.
Ooh, that hook almost landed. A slightly late flash, actually, from Bonaparte. Didn't pull Elise as far with him, but barely missing the hook. That would have probably guaranteed a flash, if not a kill.
That was really close, especially since Nightmare would have probably just chained with the Cocoon stun. It was a rather key frame there we saw them miss by.
That was pretty close. However, it's going to be a ward dodge here by Glad IQ, but not going to make the dive happen. Is level 6. but of course so are the bottom lane of Tick, Trick, and Duck. Top lane is trading back and forth right now. Muno hadn't gone to buy since those 2 kills, so hasn't cashed in that money just yet.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily need to, and this is almost a desperation dragon check by SGC. He wasn't really thinking about, oh, we're going to do the dragon now. He was just hoping that no one would come and check. In that case, he could have probably done it with a little bit of Zyra help. Because Nightmare was heady, realized that was going to be happening, he stops it right before it starts.
Well done then by TTD. Looks like the gold lead now, 1,200 gold, is growing over time. Look at that 10-minute Sunfire cape by Phantom Joe. It's doing, what, 33 damage per second right now. Good enough to be worth it, and he's going to have a really hard time, Cavalier, who's gone back to base. The Spectre's Cowl, not same tier as Sunfire cape.
Yeah, it's a little bit less. And now we got Mia in a bit more trouble. Flash still not up. If a stun lands, maybe even not, they're going to get him. Ooh, the barrier.
Ooh, that Q was close. 200 health left right there. But the bottom lane, the fight comes in. Vi diving that one, picking up the kill onto Thresh. So SGC is showing some signs of life.
Yeah, I'd love to take a look at that gank in the bottom lane just to see exactly what went down, but it seems like it was just Vi picked a target and everyone chained CC on her. We'll see if they can get a turret versus not a turret. It's a nice kill for them to get back onto Caitlyn. That's actually the lane that's been doing the best for Storm's game clan. The other two have been going very wrong. So their last hope, in my opinion, is actually Caitlyn and the worst AD carry to become a little better.
Well, she did pick up a BF sword as well as the kill in that fight. Maybe she just will go Infinity Edge and go... I mean, not, that said, it builds out a Bloodthirster anyway, but there's a long sword. All right, that's Bloodthirster. Pretty sure at that point. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah.
Every once in a while I see I-Edge Caitlyn. It's rare, but...
It is really rare, and I especially think you should only do it if you're really far ahead and have some time to spare. Just because I think the power advantage you gain from a Bloodthirster on Caitlyn, and going Last Whisper static ship either for the ace in the hole or the wave clear is just huge. But this is a dragon take by SGC. If they get this, they're going to be right back in the game, Freak.
Well, here we go. Nightmare's nearby, not going to be in range. Nice route by Lula to help guarantee Nightmare. Doesn't show up for that one. Storm Games Clan now only 300 gold behind. Moonno's huge, but everyone else, I guess, now holding up much nicer.
Yeah, I think those moves that SGC have just pulled are very strong for their just overall chance in this game, because the start for them was so rough, knowing that Nidalee needs to hit that item threshold and knowing that Cavalier has not been able to put any impact on a Phantom in the top lane means they had to kind of make some creative plays. It turns out that TTD just didn't make any big moves. Ziggs was never really able to shut down Nidalee farm-wise.
Yeah.
And the Dragon, in a sense, I think was just taking a good time after Viking.
Well, Cavalier now in a bad spot. Really, this top lane's getting picked on right here. Nightmare shows up, pulls Turret Aggro, doesn't land the stun, though. Cavalier trying to get away, not going to do that. Repel drops Turret Aggro, 4-2 now, and a turret for Tick, Trick, and Duck.
Yeah, but there's a couple people on the way here. Let's see if Nidalee can pull anything off. Level 9.
Mia shows up here in from behind, and no one is there to help. One Javelin's going to land. Nightmare not in a good spot. Turns back forward, misses another Cocoon. That's going to be a kill picked up by Mia. Now Phantom Door forced to run, has his ulti on as well as the W. Doesn't necessarily need the tenacity, though, losing a lot of health for this, but putting damage back on Mia, heals himself. Can go in for the damage. One more attack. Yes, picks this one up. Now can GladIQ do it? Flashes in. Whoa. Phantom Joe flashes away.
How many more cleavers can he land? Because Ziggs is on the way.
One more, and GladIQ goes down. Here we go, up through Tribrush. Can she make it out? The bomb is not up for Snow. Has to try to go for
flash. Is he crazy?
He's Ziggs, of course he is.
He could have flashed through that. That would have been the crazy move. He flashes anyway.
All right, Real Man does flash in. There's the minefield. Enough damage. Oh, 100 HP. Snow! Cavalier tanks the bomb. And that's going to be enough to get GladIQ out of this one. He's sure glad his teammate showed up.
And he actually never got in range to throw an Ignite down on GladIQ.
Oh, man.
So, oh, dear. You tried to sneak in a pun there. What a analysis, Freak. But anyway, it seems like they're getting caught in the bot lane.
And another Zyra ult coming off. Knocked into the air. One more attack. That's going to be the kill picked up. Worst ADC West, showing that it's apparently better than Sunny XX right here. Doing a good stuff. Here we go. 4 to 5. 1,000 gold, but this bottom lane's doing real well.
Absolutely, and that was an example of the Zyra lane getting a little bit aggressive, mainly because they had harassed them so low already. Zyra was just effectively taking pot shots with her grasping roots over and over again. As soon as one landed, she could chain it with the ultimate and just nearly burst down the Thresh, who definitely not having a good time right now.
And so we saw there's the Bloodthirster picked up there, the pickaxe. Already ready to start the Last Whisper, 14.5 minutes in. Pretty early item pickup here by SGC's AD carry. Lucian trying to go towards Trinity Force. Sadly, about 800 gold still away from that one.
Yeah, and actually looking at the supports itemization a little bit, Bonaparte is doing something different than what Aframu would do on Thresh, and I actually like his build more despite him dying twice. Because what Aframu likes to do is he loves to rush a Talisman of Ascension. And that oftentimes makes him extremely squishy, and he likes to fight a lot. Whereas this guy has actually went for the Doran Shield, which, if he does better in lane, would pay for itself.
Yeah.
But the fact that he both went for the combat-heavy item and is also not getting any gold generation is the worst of both worlds.
Yeah.
So he has the right item build for what's happening to him, but it's still not stopping it. So they're just falling farther and farther behind.
Remember, actually, to kind of speak on this. Oh, no, hold on. Snow's getting jumped on. That's going to be a lot of pain and just the death right away. Well picked up. Glad IQ's making a lot of things happen now in mid-game.
Yeah, this game is very close right now. I'd have to say the Vi ganks have been much more impactful than the Elise ganks, because Elise has gotten a few ganks off in the top lane. Obviously, if Mundo can now roam down and affect the game, it's this weird thing, because we talked the whole pregame about how Cavalier on Renekton was going to want to get ahead and then transition. But now it's actually Phantom Joe who needs to use his lead on Mundo to impact the rest of the game. Weird double take, but as long as Phantom Joe's not there, the rest of the map is winning. Speaking of which...
Yeah, right? Phantom Joe coming out in the pull in on an ADC West. Doesn't have a lot of places to go. Box shows up just to guarantee it and then runs away because he doesn't want to go down. Dodges the Peacemaker, but Mia has shown up to turn this one around with Lularu. Oh, nice shot there by Mia through the heart, and goodbye to Thresh. 0-3.
Yeah, she got caught between a spear and a grasping roots, and she picked the one that would kill her, which was either one. So it was a really unfortunate thing right there. 1 for 1. Phantom Joe tried to make a big impact there, but the Nidalee Roam was effective enough to get one back.
Oh, well done. Nidalee Mia making it happen. Snow pushing this turret down, takes another javelin to the face, and actually leaves early, realizes how scary that Nidalee can be. Does get the turret for his troubles, though.
That means, though, because he was far away, that he didn't actually get the local turret bonus.
Yeah.
So it was pretty good that Mia pushed him back there.
Oh, glad IQ now getting chased away, but has a teammate nearby. He's going to be nice and safe. TTD right there. 1,000 gold up with 2 turrets killed so far. So a bit of stuff gained by these guys, but still a close game by making a lot of these turned around. We'll see what SGC goes for right there. So you're talking about Aframu with his gold generation builds, basically. So more or less, the 2 major gold generation items, the Ascension line and the Targon's line. Roughly the tier 1 is about worth 4 gold per 10, and the next one's about worth 8.
Yes.
Roughly. Sightstone, I forget the cost of it, because you still should ward as a support, but I know people considered, oh yeah, Sightstone's a new GP10, arguably a better one.
Because it's saving you ward money.
Yeah, it's saving you 75 gold a minute. Because you get 3 wards out, basically.
Assuming you're actually using the wards, and then that you're also kind of forced to go back when you get a Sightstone.
That's true.
I think especially in play like this where they want to place that many wards, you're right. Like, getting the Sightstone early, I think, is a great thing to get in tandem with your gold per 10 item. So, interesting thing to think about when you're itemizing your supports right there. Some people just don't ward. You save a lot of money that way, too.
Yeah, solo queue, man. Just play LeBlanc or Cassiopeia. Forget wards, just buy AP. Dragon is going down invisibly right here.
It's there.
All right, went down. Blue team slayed it. It died too fast, didn't even render.
Somebody turns the lights out.
And Phantom Joe, though, just running through some plants and a friendly minefield there, knocked into the air. He is going to go down. Shut down by Lula right here. Bunch of money picked up. The fight's going to continue. Lula does go down. Snow picked up the kill credit. Cavalier now into the backline on Renekton, but doesn't find much to do. Looks like Tick, Trick, and Duck really holding their distance pretty well. Nightmare not in the best spot. Does find the Lantern, though. They're going to get out 1 for 1 so far. Mia does not find a Javelin. The rest of the team goes far away from where Nidalee was looking.
That was a really strange fight.
Yeah.
Phantom Joe didn't pop his Mundo ultimate until he was about an inch from death. It may have been on cooldown. It may have been on cooldown here. We're going to be able to see. But you can see Phantom Joe gets caught very heavily here and is not ultimating, maybe because he has the healing debuff on him, but they do finish him off right as he pops his ultimate here. But then because SGC chased so far through, Trick, Tick, and Duck, I'll get the name later, was able to turn a little bit around. I feel like if Phantom Joe would have been able to live through this one, it would have been a steamroll victory for TTD. But because he died right as he used his ultimate, it ended up being even.
Yeah, so rough stuff here. TTD about to have their Mundo ultimate back. Their main tank, Sunny, managed to walk into the Javelin. Could have just walked downwards, didn't choose to. Plants coming back up, and the siege has begun, and Zyra is actually part of the siege team right now, throwing plants down there to deal some damage.
Tick, Trick, and Duck. Yeah, there we go. I got the thumbs up from Freak. But anyway, yeah, this is exactly what Storm's game clan wants to do here, because as long as Nidalee has mana, this siege will continue. I think they should actually stay past that Zigzag, but they're afraid of the hard engage.
Yeah, I guess you could say that's their Storm Games plan right there, is just to keep on going forward. But looks like they're going to retreat right there. Looking at TikTok and Duck's vision, and these guys are playing with a... Like, you can kind of see their ward coverage, right? They have, like, just barely some vision into, like, the exits of the enemy jungle. But really, you're seeing a lot of darkness here on this side. These guys aren't able to see a lot of what's going on. Mundo does spot some guys around, but there we go.
Yeah, and what's actually happening here is Cavalier is making his way back into the top lane. I'm thinking he's been trying to match Mundo so that Mundo's roam isn't that effective, but it's meaning the top lane is often abandoned. And especially for Renekton, who normally wants to transition a strong laning phase into the game, having a weak laning phase and then still not staying in the lane means he might turn into a paper Renekton near the end of the game if he doesn't farm substantially in that lane.
We'll see if he can get more money coming in there. Only the Spirit Visage so far, and a Giant's Belt helping a little bit, but hasn't been able to do much in team fights. TikTok and Duck, 700 golden lead. Mid lane droid's going to get answered right here by Storm Games Clan. 175 gold each of those guys, and goodbye to Zyra. Just gets chunked down, I'm assuming by a hook there by Bonaparte.
Yeah, must have been. And here's the trick about Renekton having to get that farm back in the top lane. It doesn't mean that Mundo's going to go back there. So now SGC has to survive this Mundo, this monster on the rest of the map, while he's trying to go around and make plays. That was one of them under the turret.
And there's going to be a turret going down as well, but looks like SGC has their own plans for the top lane there. You're seeing Vi and Renekton both show up. Zigzag's going to come by to sweep the minions, and here's a Mundo. Going to land the slow, but no other roam likely to be here. I don't know if he can 1v2. Looks like he wanted to.
He wanted to. He at least scared him off. He didn't have an ultimate, otherwise I think he would have went all in on the Vi and just tried to chase her down. Doing that without the ultimate would not have been smart.
No, not really. I like the play by TTD, though. They had Ziggs for the wave clear and the teleport still up on Mundo. So they, like, let Renekton push, knowing they wouldn't miss much, and got to push bottom with it. It was really, like, the bases were covered. It wasn't even a counter. Yeah,
it was a nice use of the 21-minute Mundo teleport. You know, you usually think you'd want to save it to contest a dragon or to, like, split push or something, but to use it as a turret defense also works quite well.
Turret's worth about as much as Dragons anyway, though. We'll see Phantom Joe into the fight. Both ultis popped. Ignite onto Phantom Joe as well. Can Cavalier do much here despite being behind in this matchup? Does force some damage out, but I feel like Mundo's okay.
Yeah, especially through the Ignite, and he's still healing up a little bit. You can see they're putting a lot of time into this Mundo. I wonder if they can turn something here.
They're trying really hard. Phantom Joe pops the flash, trying to get away, throwing cleavers back as he goes. Has a turret to run to, but Cavalier's there with the Fury stun and the armor pen as well, and that is a kill picked up.
Maybe an overcommit right here because Nidalee is coming in from behind. We got another 3v3 on the fight.
Ooh, man, Javelin and the ulti from Caitlyn lands as well. There's the jump in from Mia. Gonna hit the box, but does take one kill down. Can he get Sunny? Oh, he hits the trap! Goodbye. Good night. Sunny is down.
Those traps so annoying sometimes, but this is huge for Storm's game plan because Nidalee now has the items and the double buffs kicking in. So wherever she goes, those spears are absolutely killer, and there's no sustain on Tick, Trick, or Duck in this one, and they're just going to continue sieging this, and not only can they push these turrets quickly, they'll be able to set up sieges later in the game.
Oh dear, so the trap's going to come down, 2 turrets falling as well. Storm Games Clan, looks like they've picked up 3 turrets now on this one. Much better start to the, well, much better mid-game for these guys. The very beginning was kind of rough, but they're turning it on right here. See where they go. So they're going to go for the recalls just now, cashing in on a lot of the money they picked up from their kills. And suddenly these guys are spiking up really hard. Nidalee 5-2-2, really taking over the game now. I thought it was going to be Caitlyn, but looks like it's now the mid laner again.
Yeah, what I'm most surprised in is just the fact that Mia's been able to roam so much with Ziggs not just destroying 2 middle turrets. It's because Nidalee's roamed when Ziggs actually goes up to the top lane. I feel like Snow needs to control his own movement a little bit better and lock Nidalee down a bit because Nidalee moves around the map much faster than a Ziggs does.
Yeah.
And it's definitely hurting TTD, getting out-rotated by this Nidalee's mobility.
Well, and these guys have moved down to the bottom lane as well. See what happens with Lucian coming to join his team. 5v5. Everyone is grouped up for this dragon that is spawning right now. This one is visible. Storm Games Clan looking to start this one out. They've got a pink ward back in there. They can see that both teams can see this. Javelin's still coming out. No more blue buff on Mia, but this dragon's still losing health. TTD want to go in. There's the engage. Zyrel's going to knock up a couple, and goodbye to Lula. The fight has come in. The dragon picked up by Nightmare, actually. That is TTD picking that one. 1 for 0 so far. Flash the way. Vi does not want to stay in this fight. The rest of Storm Games Clan running his way. ADC West flashes the wall. Stun onto Mia. I don't know if they're going to get the chase, though. Looks like not. So dragon and a kill picked up by TikTok and Duck.
So here's the trick. When you're running a poke composition with Nidalee and Caitlyn, the last thing you want to do is put yourself up against a wall, or at the very least, force an initiation before you have poke damage down. That's why they seem to lose that fight so badly, is because Lulia tried to initiate on Zyra before any poke had been happened, which meant they just got completely run over by Dr. Mundo.
And look at this, 25 minutes in, Tick, and Duck already rushing down the Baron. They've positioned themselves to block the javelins, but Bonaparte can't take more than one at this point. He would die to a javelin right here. Nightmare's going to take a shot, and that is Baron Nashor going down. So, picked up a whole lot right here. Only a 2,000 gold lead, but these guys look powerful.
That was a very gutsy call, I feel, by Tick, and Duck, having only gotten one kill, but knowing they took so many people low on SGC that they could just rotate directly to the Baron. They got the Dragon and the Baron out of just a one-kill fight, so it's just cannot talk about how huge that is enough.
So massive stuff right there. The mid lane going to get swept out as well. So you're going to see no movement allowed out of his mid lane for now from SGC. ZXC is still sweeping around. Actually went interesting. Elder Lizard here on Vi, a early damage build. So now he's going for the other tank items right here.
Yeah. I see the Elder Lizard a lot more in solo queue than I do in competitive play. I know that like Night Blue and Meteos, when they play in solo queue, will often go for a Spirit of the Elder Lizard and a Trinity Force on Vi and just try and carry the game that way. But you need a lot of farm to be able to generate that. Like at this point in the game, if you want to actually make that Spirit of the Elder Lizard item, I think, feel better, Vi would need about 150 CS. So probably like 75% of what the solo lanes have. Because it doesn't, the tank itemization is slow. And I also feel like if you're not synergizing, your damage with enough damage, you're just not doing enough. In this context, I really disagree with the Spirit of the Elder Lizard. But if he was taking more farm, I think it would be much better.
Snowball ahead a bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, so not actually a lot of individual playmaking available right now for GladIQ. Meanwhile, we're seeing Nightmare really only dip into Sorcerer's Shoes. You can see 7,900 gold on that Elise. Still the richest members of Tick, and Duck, that top and mid lane right there. But you're seeing that Nidalee has kind of taken this over 10,000 gold on Mia. Definitely the biggest factor in this game.
Yeah, the sieging is going to be rather difficult for TTD here because if one spear lands on a critical target, I'd say that's the least critical target right there because it's probably the tankiest person in the siege. They kind of just have to go back or wait a long time for the Baron regen to come down. That's why Phantom Joe might want to come down and participate in the siege a little bit because he can be the one that eats some of the spears without having to immediately fall back.
You know, speaking of eating spears, the blue Wraith right there did get taken down by a Mia Javelin, kind of uncounter jungled his own team. Tick, and Duck, though, we're seeing them still try to do the siege anyway, using Phantom Joe to hope to pull more attention. Bonaparte down to half, forced to use Baron regen right now. And yeah, there's really not a lot of headway made by Tick, and Duck here.
See, that's one of the unfortunate things right there. They immediately have to go back despite having this Baron buff. They're trying to health regen up a little bit, but it's going to be a slow one if this is their main plan.
Slow so far. A little bit of headway made by Phantom Joe in the top lane, looking for turret number 4. 2/3 health in that turret, at least it's going somewhere downwards, but not a ton just yet. More javelins still getting spammed. Look at the wave clear, though. Zyra Caitlyn kills the minions before they reach the turret. There just is no push possible by these guys.
Look at that Magic Pen coming on the Zyra build, too.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone actually thought Zyra was going to explode, I think, competitive-wise, when the
did.
Season 4 item scanned. Like, oh, Annie and Zyra, and Fiddlesticks. And it turned out to really just be Annie. But this is kind of why. You get the magic penetration. Zyra already has pretty good base damages.
Yeah.
There's a better word than that.
High, large.
No. Appropriate? No. Generous.
Generous.
Pretty generous base damages.
That's a very nice way to say overpowered.
Already. Yeah, that's been a case in the past.
Yeah, it has been. Now she's slow and can be killed sometimes. There's been like 50 of those during the World Championship. I said this last time I was casting with the Zyra, but like, she used to die like in 12 seconds to Ahri.
Oh, that was so painful. It's just
so bad.
The saddest time for Zyra supports. It doesn't happen as much anymore, I think, because she's not in games. But,
yeah.
The Baron regen right here has kind of saved them up a little bit, despite getting hit by some of those spears. The Ziggs was able to put down enough harass. Snow got part of that turret down just basically by Ziggs ulting, and they cleared out an outer one. They couldn't get the inhibitor turret, which is what they really wanted, but with the last breath of that Baron buff, they were able to take down an outer.
Good job, Tick, and Duck. Oh my gosh, Bonaparte at like 50 health right now. Yeah. All right. Careful there. Oh, no, Caitlyn ulti. Oh, it's going to get blocked. Okay.
So a little careful here because he's all by himself.
Phantom Joe pops the ulti, runs away with Ignite on Javelin. Barely dodged right there by those two. But the disengage is here. Ziggs throwing bombs. He leaves.
Yeah, and we got the objectives coming back up again, so TTD needs to make sure they get back to base right away. They were actually kind of losing control of this game right before they had that dragon fight, and that's the type of game they need to get back into. TikTricker isn't that strong sieging turrets or getting sieged just on account of the other team having Nidalee. That's all they need. Nidalee is going to be doing that for them. But if they can force objective fights and avoid the poke wars from happening, which they'll be able to do at Dragon and Baron, I think that's how they're going to win this game.
Oh, should be okay for these guys. We'll see if they can do it. Baron up in 2 minutes. Dragon up in 7 seconds. And looks like they heeded your advice, chat. It is Tick, Trick, and Duck. All fully healed up, all bought up with items. 2,000 gold lead for these guys. And they're well in position for Dragon. Way before Storm Games Clan. This is going to be 1,000 gold going in their pockets.
All right. I think it's actually more than that at this point.
Yeah,
245.
1,200.
5.
1,225.
Yeah.
Pretty
Minus
good.
25.
Plus 25
yeah,
because
the dragon.
kill.
Yeah, because the dragon.
1250.
We no longer have Bounty Hunter as an item. What about we don't have bonus gold for Smite either. It's 1250.
No. Well, I mean, he got conservation money, but that's like kind of general GP10 at that point. Up to 40.
Yes, you're right.
Unless he was like not going to
money.
jungle.
No, the conservation money counts.
Yeah.
Was he the one that last hit it?
I assume so, if you're worth your salt as a jungler. Didn't smite, though.
Yeah,
Maybe he didn't.
He might not have. A lot of times near the end of the game, I get really, like, just sad when I'm going to do a side lane camp and, like, the AD carry comes over. He's like, I'm going to take the blue wraith. And I'm thinking, I really wanted my conservation to
40
detonate
gold
right there. That's 40 extra gold, man. I don't come into your lane and smite your cannon, even though I have, like, 12 times that game. But that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I'm going to just steal his cannon next time.
I don't necessarily like this move by Storm's Game Clan. It might end up working out if they got a face check. But once again, that's trying to start a fight without generating a poke advantage at the start, which I think is key for them.
Well, we'll see. Looks like Wards got swept out by Tick, Trick, and Duck, and SGC said, you're right, never mind. We're going to go backwards and try another day. Looks like Zyra Plant did not manage to steal red buff. That would have been hilarious. Didn't happen, though. Lula doesn't steal that one away. Mia going to grab blue buff here, so both teams trading their buffs pretty equally. Snow got the blue recently for himself. Both these teams in pretty normal spots now. The interesting thing being that Baron's up in about 10.
Yep.
And last time, Tick, Trick, and Duck got Baron because they killed a bunch of guys and forced them away in the base. This time, much more equal footing.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to try and get the Baron this time by having Mundo split push and draw 1 or 2 people. It'll be a little bit dangerous, but they have a lot of Baron securing. Elise, at least in this game, should be able to 100% secure a Baron. She can execute with her bite on Elise while she smites and spike it for what would be about 1,500 damage. Whereas SGC has nothing that can burst appropriately as long as they're blocking spears.
Yeah.
So that means if they do send 1 or 2 people to deal with Phantom's Mundo, then it would be a beneficial, like, easy to secure Baron in that case. Which, you know, Mundo, I think he should be pushing a little harder, and TTD should be going for Baron.
Okay, well, TTD, unfortunately for them, are much more safe here. They don't manage to capitalize on the minion wave pushing top. They don't get much off of Mundo either. Looks like he got a little gun shy. There we go. They're starting up on Baron. But a lot of the members of SGC are around. There's, what, 4 guys right there around mid. Renekton coming across. And right now it's just a ward sweep by Tick, Trick, and Duck.
Yeah, the Nidalee Spears can stop all of this very quickly. If they're trying to poke around Baron and they get hit by a couple, they just have to fall back. Phantom Joe really needs, I think, to put more presence in this lane. I know that they're waiting for the mid lane to start getting pushed back. I just think they're being a little bit too patient. They should be forcing this because they can.
Well, we'll see if they go for it. Right now, just ward coverage on both sides. You guys making sure they see stuff. No one forcing much of anything, unfortunately. Phantom Joe's still on the side. He pushes the wave up and says, deal with it at your inhibitor. I'm going to go take white. He's actually just investing in farming for himself. He's not actually making pressure.
Yeah.
He's just getting gold.
That's what he's been doing the whole game. And
he's big.
He is big, but so is Caitlyn. And, and like, Lucian is not, for instance. Sunny is so far behind Caitlyn. It's something we definitely need to point out. Like, just look at that item differential. Bloodthirster, Shiv, Last Whisper, and a BF Sword to, like, the mobility items on him right there. So this is a move where Phantom Joe has to just make more action happen.
And we'll see if he can do that right here. Tick, Trick, and Duck are actually going to teleport in for the Baron right here. Looks like the siege might just begin. Toronto forces one down. SGC forced to rotate over. Baron down about half HP. This is going to go down rather quickly. course, this team knows about this now. Plants are there. The damage coming across. There's a bunch of damage. Who's going to get it? There we go. Blue team picks up the smite. Great job by Nightmare. And the fight's going to continue. Cavalier in the front lines, taking a bunch of health. It's going to be Bonaparte going down, though. Trading kills back and forth. 1-for-1. Baron buff, though, still on TTD. They're going to try to force back Vi. Vi will get over the wall successfully. Just the 1-for-1 with Baron. These teams are going to disengage here. All right, guys. Unfortunately, we have a pause real quick. We're going to have to get back into this game in a little bit, but
at least we got to see the Baron.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was not as clean as it could have been because they didn't actually wait for anyone to go for Mundo, but because they had the Elise to secure with the smite, they were able to get it safely. And Storm's game plan didn't have the time to set up and poke them off the Baron, and because they were such a poke team, did not have the ability to hard engage them while they're in the Baron. So overall, it was a very smart call once again to pick up their second Baron of the game.
Yeah, and of course, good thing on them to get the smite, the 1-for-1 or the 1-for-0, I think, kill trade. No, 1-for-1. Yeah, 1-for-1 kill trade. It's always interesting to see. I've seen games where like the Baron call is worth it even when Baron gets stolen because you'll just pick up so many kills. One example is being Fnatic's game today. I believe they lost the Baron even though Cyanide was on Elise.
Yeah, it got stolen away by. There was a lot of stuff. There was like a Ziggs and a Shyvana and everything.
Yeah, I
just
think it was
landed at
SHC.
once. Yeah, Super Hot Crew.
Yeah, Super Hot Crew stole Baron, so good job by Impaler. But Fnatic was so far ahead. All they wanted was just like an open terrain fight. It was like, steal Baron, don't care, kill everybody, take Inhibitor. Yeah. And it's like, I'm okay with steal as long as you win the team fight. In this case, for what it's worth, just the 1-for-1 trade, like, lucky by them they got the smite. Because this is the team that should be winning open field fights.
Skill by them that they got the smite. We can actually take a look at this one more time. You can see how Nidalee's around the back. That's a little bit fatal right there because when they actually do try and go in for a fight, they don't get much. You can see Glad when they're all by himself. Cavalier is there. Like, worst JD carry West is actually in a pretty good spot, which is why they were able to get most of the damage down to Bonaparte. But after that, you could see it was just no real committal by SGC to get in there, which is another reason they were able to disengage so well.
And TikTok and Duck, they don't really have a lot of engage. Like, they can try to throw bombs at you, which are, I guess, inferior to javelins. But without landing a cocoon, they can't force the battle, right? Like, they can't, like, Vi dive the Caitlyn and make sure she goes down to continue the siege. They've got to just, like, hope a fight starts and surround it.
Theoretically, they could start some fights, but when they've done that in the past, it hasn't worked out for them.
That's true.
Zyra started the fight at Dragon Pit, lost a few people. If Vi went in all by herself, I feel like Renekton would be too far back, and Mundo would just zone everyone else out.
Yeah.
So, if we gotta think about like percentage victories from this point.
Yeah, it's weird, but like even though they're behind in gold, I still like SGC just because I don't know how Trick and Duck wins the game.
Really?
Like, well, and so here's why, like,
because they have Mundo. Yeah. That's really farmed.
Yes.
Ziggs that really farmed. Lucian not. Thresh and Elise, which is okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna put it 80% for them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you just because they have a giant Mundo who can split, push, pull pressure, eventually things will break?
Yeah, I think that Mundo, especially with the Thornmail, is strong enough, and I don't think it's going to get to like full 6-item Caitlyn to deal with that.
Okay.
I think the fact that they're already nearing the inhibitor line and that none of the objectives have been successfully contested by SGC means that. But what's your argument for the other side?
So the reasoning is because, so I saw this song and dance before. So TikTok and Duck got Baron, and they tried to siege mid. And I think they made literally 0 turret headway, except for like they finally made I think they got 1 turret. So literally
they got like an outer turret.
Yeah, they got a tier 2 bottom turret, right? And that was kind of a good rotation. Like they got the lane push up, showed up in time, cleared the minions, showed up, killed it. And I feel like that gets harder and harder and harder, especially when you get to the inhibitor line, right?
Yeah.
And so you're at the situation where I don't see how they actually kill those buildings off.
Yeah.
And even though they have a gold lead for now, right, Caitlyn hits 6 items eventually, is fine, right? Like, the gold lead eventually stops happening because you just farm, and then eventually it just doesn't matter anymore. And because there's no engage from Trick and Duck, they will, like, okay, fight us at Baron, and then get 1. Because there's no, like, Trundle Pillar to catch people, there's no Sivir ulti, there's no Orianna ulti, it's just like, well, we'll throw damage at you.
There's a chance that because they can't push in, that the items will just stretch, and we'll get, like, a 60-minute game.
Right.
Where at that point, it's the 6-item Caitlyn versus 6-item. Like, maybe if we match it up, like, head by head.
Okay, let's go.
Like, let's assume that what happened, and they can stretch the game, and it goes to 60 minutes. We'll have a Caitlyn and a Zyra against a Thresh and a Lucian.
Yeah.
And I think, hands down, Zyra Caitlyn is much stronger.
Yeah.
I just don't know by how much. Maybe if we had to get, like, a power value, Caitlyn would be a 9.
Yeah. Jinx would be an 11.
Late game Zyra. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though late game Caitlyn is, like, super brutal. That's why I put her, like, she's like an 8.5, 9.
Okay.
Late game. We're judging out of 10. If you couldn't miss. Oh no, we're going back into the game, I think.
Yeah.
We're going to continue this conversation anyway, because it's fun.
It is.
I think Lula won't be 6 items, so it actually puts Zyra around a 6.
Okay.
I'd say Bonaparte is a 5. I think late game Thresh is pretty weak, maybe even a 4. I'd say Lucian's a 7. Oh, there's a fight.
All right, there we go. Phantom Token, he jumps out, and Caitlyn ulti goes in, does not kill him, though, burning down to Ignite, and he does drop. So that's a kill picked up, despite the Baron buff on Tick, Trick, and Duck. SGC continuing the siege. Mia going for, like, hell, I'll just heal under the turret. I don't even care. We'll tank this.
Yeah, hell, they're doing something crazy right now. They don't even have Baron, and they're trying to siege without a blue buff on Nidalee.
Yeah.
But they got a kill, I think, based off the element of surprise. I don't think they can stick and siege this any farther, though.
Yeah, looks like they're not going to
nice
go for this
move,
one.
though.
Yeah, very well played by these guys. In the aftermath of that Baron fight, picking up a bunch, 4,500 gold, still puts TTD in the lead. That just doesn't seem to matter too much. Okay, so we're back to these battle lines getting drawn. So
yeah, so we did the bottoms. We got Caitlyn was a 8.5.
Yeah.
And Zyra, we need to like write this down. And Zyra was a
6. She'll get to 3 items.
So that's
basically.
14.5 already.
Yeah.
On their side, but on the other side we had Thresh, who was a 5, and Lucian, who was a I think I called him a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 11 to 14.5.
Okay.
3.5 point lead.
Okay. Mid lane. Need to leave her 6.
And leave her 6. Ooh, what do you think? I feel like Ziggs is probably.
I'd give them both like an 8.
They're pretty close. I was
Ziggs
gonna
might
say
be higher.
Well, I was gonna say Nidalee actually.
Okay.
But see, the power of Nidalee and Ziggs will vary greatly depending on their opponents, right? Like if Nidalee's poke matters versus if Ziggs' poke matters versus if Ziggs can AoE a substantial amount of people. Damn.
Well, so Ziggs can like zone out the Renekton. Like Cavalier's gonna have an even lower relative value because he has to get through Ziggs.
Yeah.
Like just the Ziggs spam. Yeah. But Nidalee gets to help
Cavalier is
Caitlyn.
like a 3 and like so bad in this game at this point.
Yeah.
And Glad is also pretty low. I think even at full items he's probably like a 4. So their whole like dive buddies is a 7 overall, whereas Mundo by himself is probably a 9.
God.
I'm just trying to figure this out. You know,
Yeah, okay.
Elise is probably like a 6.
Really, that high? Like, I feel like Tank Elise doesn't do that much.
She doesn't. She doesn't. But she does have percentage health shred a little bit.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
you're right.
Void,
That 6
though.
is way too high. Yeah,
Without Void, she's...
You're right. I'd say like 4
Okay.
at this point.
Okay.
Super late game. These are unrealistic scenarios because super late game almost
Evil
never
Geniuses
happens.
games.
Yeah. Or this one. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, maybe.
I lost track, but I think we graded everyone. And I think it was close.
I think it was close.
So if what he says happens and Tick Trick or Duck doesn't ever, and they aren't able to break the siege and we start seeing people approach 6 items, I'd
Then
say
it's close.
It's like 50-50 right now. But at the moment, it's better than that.
Okay. I give a 1 point lead to SGC because they can give attack speed to Caitlyn.
Ooh, that's actually a really good point. That boosts Caitlyn to like a 9.5.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Nidalee makes Caitlyn a 9.5.
I remember a game back in the very end of Season 2. It was actually TPA. BB was playing Caitlyn, and they ran a Nunu support with like pre-nerf Blood Boil and Nidalee heal. And they killed Baron in like 3 seconds because Caitlyn was just shooting it and getting headshots. She had 2.5 attack speed with 6 item Caitlyn. It was absurd. They just melted through everything in the game. Obviously not the same because there's no Blood Boil, but that's like an example of how strong Caitlyn can get.
I know we were talking about Caitlyn with the Millennium game we were watching, Millennium vs. SK. We're like, Creative might want to go 6 offensive items here. Because he had the Zillion Revive and the Shen Shield anyway. Still went Banshee's Veil, but like had even more potential damage. Man, that is a lot of attack speed right there. Lula getting dropped low. It actually looks like TTD can force his turret down. That's going to be a tier 2 dropped away. And that siege is better than I thought it was.
Yeah, we were actually talking with Zyrene the other day about how strong Blade of the Ruin King ult is on Lucian because of the attack speed bonus you get and how many shots come out. And we could see how much it chunked down Lula right there in that siege. So this is the part of the 80% I was talking about, is TTD pressing their advantage before they're at 6 items because there's no way Storm's game plan can actually fight back.
Wow, so well done right there. And Trinity Force helping Sunny D. Sunny D, what?
And Sunny D. Sunny X, man.
It wasn't even on purpose.
Yeah.
XD. That's what
You just
I
had
was
so
hoping
much
for.
of it as a child.
Yeah,
Did
just
you?
on the
Were you
brain.
a Sunny D? I almost never had Sunny D.
I had a fair amount.
Okay.
I had a fair amount. Maybe a couple gallons over the course of my lifetime.
That's almost none. Oh, a couple gallons?
Okay.
That means you're drinking it for like a couple weeks.
Well, I had a sister, right? So like she would drink some
So
of
she
it.
would drink.
I mean, I still do have a sister. But
How often did you have Sunny D in your fridge?
not that much.
Like how many years of your life?
Oh, a couple years, like once in a while.
All right, you had like
I probably like a couple dozen
hundreds of gallons of Sunny D.
I don't want to say hundreds
There's a
of
big
gallons. That's
difference.
way too much processed sugar.
All right, fine. Anyway, his name is Sunny
might be
X.
Sunny double X, actually.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah, he's a beer fan. Here we go. So SGC, a little bit more on the back foot, but the 6 Tier 1 and Tier 2 turrets have been killed off by Tick, Trick, and Duck. Baron back up in a minute and a half. It's weird. It seemed like that was like 14 minutes ago. But back up in about a minute and a half right here. Storm Games Clan. We'll see if they can catch back up. Caitlyn up to 4 full offensive items.
That's
Infinity
big.
Edge is done.
And the fact she's only died once in this one. Here's the question, and I know it's probably never going to happen, but we're putting this out there for the 80 carries of the world. We were saying Blade of the Ruined King is probably a better 5th item.
Potentially.
For dealing with Thornmail. Maybe potentially. Probably not against Ziggs, though. That breaks it. The Banshee's Veil would be the best last item here because Mundo, Elise, and Ziggs, anyone who's going to be reaching her will be doing magic damage. And that's going to also decrease the damage she takes from Thornmail.
Yes.
Because the Thornmail would be magic damage.
Yes.
But the argument would be, if you're only dealing with a Thornmail diver, the Blade of the Ruined King lifesteal will be better at keeping you alive against that and also kill the guy faster. So
yeah.
If they didn't have the magic damage of Ziggs and Elise that could reach her, I would want her to go Blade of the Ruined King.
I agree.
All right. Glad we got that worked out.
All right, we're good to go. Let's see. We're at TTD West. We're guessing still going to go for a Spectre's Cowl next. Looks like Banshee's Veil actually already picked up by Sunny, so had the ability to, at that point, get close to finishing Infinity Edge. So it's 3,000 gold from where he's at with Pickaxe, and went for a 2,800 gold Banshee's Veil. I forget. It's about the cost.
Banshee's Veil is pretty smart right there because
yeah.
You can see everyone's buying their Spear Resilience right now. Spectre's Cowl on Thresh. He's going to be Banshee's Veil. They're actually going to have 4 Banshee's Veils and a Mundo, who will just doesn't care if he hits Spears. Yeah. That's going to help them a lot against late game Nidalee. That actually takes Nidalee's number down, I'd have to say.
Yeah.
Puts her like a 7.5.
But Caitlyn's a 9.5, so maybe it's okay in the end.
It's true. Someone's going to tune in right now and be like, are they rating the attractiveness of League of Legends champions? I'll be like, no.
Mundo's a 9, dude.
It's the power. Late game power, I swear.
Mundo's a 9. That's when you know it's not the attractiveness rating anymore.
Yeah.
All right. And Renekton's low. That's Renekton's a more attractive top laner than Mundo for sure. Here we go, guys. Bottom lane turret starting to get siege. Phantom Joe at home now on the split push right here. Still choosing that bottom lane. Looks like the rest of TTD going to move around the map right here, and they're going to collapse towards their opponent's blue buff. These guys are putting wards down. They know about the way in, and there's no globals. I'm surprised they're just not going for this. I feel like TTD are safe there.
Yeah, they're just playing conservatively, I think. They are a little bit afraid. They know they're not up in kills. They know they have some control of the game, but I think they want to get the Baron buff before they try any tricky moves again. So they're going to do another attempt, I think, where they rely on Nightmare's ability to smite this with Elise, and they're just making sure they get the objectives going. By Dragon, for instance, right there, is worth almost as much gold-wise as the Baron. They're really just trying to kind of hit 6 items themselves before SGC gets even close, make sure the lead is as big as possible when that happens, and then hopefully that's when they will make their move.
Let's see if they can do it right there. More gold coming into their pockets. 10,000 gold, actually. This lead has grown a little bit off their last few turret kills. And the Dragons, Baron, as we said, is up. Looks like ward control not very heavy on this side of the map for either team, actually. Bonaparte sweeps the wards away, doesn't see any, so successful. Finds them all, puts a ward down, spots Mia. These guys trading wards now. And there's only 1 red trinket left available for TTD to use.
And Mundo can still theoretically TP in if Renekton doesn't stun him, but even then it would be a 4v4, and since they haven't been poked down almost at all, it's on Elise to get the smite secure.
Oh, wow. Lula on the very edge right there. Went for Morella Namacon and didn't have enough MR to survive that.
Still going to try and steal, I bet. This could be very disastrous.
Q, his Q got dropped, and that's going to be kill picked up anyway. No smite is left. Q going to go down. Bonaparte going to survive that as well. Kate ulti blocked by Snow, and that is huge.
Yeah, 60 seconds there on Vi. 37 on Zyra right now. They should push this almost immediately. They've had all these issues trying to get through 5 people of SGC defending inhibitor turrets, but now that it is only 3 and they have a split push going, this is their chance to break the inhibitor wall and take control of the game.
All right, well, here we go. Phantom Joe happily tanking the turret and the Renekton, but losing health pretty rapidly. I feel like he's not going to win that fight. But Renekton flashed to land a stun and didn't really do much with it, unfortunately, or maybe misclicked with the Ignite.
As long as they keep coming back for these, the turrets regen, but it is very slowly. Having this one down is huge. They still have death timers. They are grouped up as 5. Inhibitor, they should rotate for the next one now. I hope they do.
The inhib is there. Zyra is alive. 5v4 for 20 seconds. They're going towards the bottom lane. Looks like Sunny Going to take a little bit of that turret damage, but doesn't care too much. That is a turret going down. 14 seconds until Vi. Tick, Trick, and Duck looking for 2 inhibitors now, and they're going to get this pretty securely, it looks like.
Yeah, excellent play here by Trick, Trick, and Duck. They got the Baron secured, number 3. That's how long before they felt comfortable going for the inhibitor turrets. Overall, it is a smart move. They knew there was a fairly low chance of a smite steal because Nightmare has just cold blood in this game. He is not choking with those smites. He is calculating the damage and getting it right because there's not too much that's actually spiking it all at once. So he can actually kind of stare at the health bar, get his judgment right, and land that smite. So high pressure smites are working out for him. The fact that they picked up the Zyra, lowered the pressure even more, and everything about that last siege just made it much more successful.
Well done here by Tick, Trick, and Duck. Everyone working very well together. Phantom Joe going to keep that turret alive. This outer turret has lasted the entire game. Phantom Joe's done a really good job making sure that's never gone anywhere.
I mean, even from the start of it, we saw how Cavalier got ganked once, and we're like, well, now Renekton can't get lane pressure, and we just really see the fact that even the minions haven't been taking that thing down. Speak volumes to how badly Renekton lost that lane.
Yeah, and just look at the kill score, right? SGC has 12 kills, and Renekton is less than 10% of those, and he's a quarter of his team's deaths. Certainly not a very good game here for Cavalier.
No, especially when he's against someone who's such a passive early laner in Mundo. But nonetheless, they have done a lot in this game to try and pull themselves back. This is the test. And another great thing for TTD is that when they got that Baron buff, since they went so immediately, they still have about a minute and a half, minute 45 seconds of Baron buff left to continue on this siege and try and get the 3rd turret. There will come a point where probably worst AD carry West, the Caitlyn, has to go back and clear some super minions away, and that's when I think Phantom Joe will face tank the turret, and we'll see Lucian try and take it down.
We'll see if they can do it. Banshee's Veil's trying to get popped. Not really happening just yet here, but they can get them gone. Maybe a Javelin can deal some damage. The plant's trying to get spawned. Of course, the plant attack itself won't break Banshee. It has to be the Q itself. Phantom Joe just eating traps happily. There's Caitlyn hitting the super minions. And the mid lane push still not yet happening. Or sorry, top lane push not yet happening for TTD.
They want all those lanes to be hitting at the same time, but it's kind of hard for it to sync sometimes. And also those super minions, when there's 2 of them together, are incredibly hard to take down. We'll see if we have time to get into that later, because it's kind of a cool story, but we got a siege going on.
Yeah, damage still coming across. ADC West taking a bit of pain, who is actually going towards that Ruin King. So decided to go for more damage on this build. Needed to do damage to help get rid of the front line that is rather beefy from Tick, Trick, and Duck.
And while they knew some people were back, you could see Phantom Joe taking some turret hits. That's a great pull.
Ooh, the Cocoon's going to land. Koling is not going to and is blocked by Cavalier. Lula does survive that one pretty well right here. The mid lane, though, the bottom lane really going down through these minions right here. Top lane getting pushed.
Nexus turret went down as well. This is all bad for SGC.
And Gladiq gets jumped on, goes down right away. Doesn't get to do anything. 5v4. Super minions in the base. Baron buff on the team as well. This is all bad news for Storm Games Clan. Best of 3. Game 1 here in the quarterfinals. Looking to go towards Tick, Trick, and Duck. Both turrets now down. 2 members dead. Let's make that 3 pretty soon. They can keep the push going. Won't even matter. Looks like it's going to be the Nexus taken down. Tick, Trick, and Duck. 1-0.
That was such a good finish by Tick, Trick, and Duck. We never got to play our 6-item game because they were able to break the siege. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I think they did it by forcing objectives at the right time. They got 3 Barons. Really huge props to Nightmare on Elise for getting the smites down in high-pressure situations. It's game 1 of a best of 3. You know, you normally don't think you have to make 3 clutch smites to secure a victory, but that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, he got all the Barons and even a Dragon that Storm Games Clan was doing.
That was
really earlier on.
You're right.
It was very
4
impressive.
for 4.
Yeah, 100% smite ratio. Really, really impressive by this guy. And I like seeing the players that have individual stand-up performances, and I want to keep seeing them go. Like, Mia had such great roaming throughout this game on Italy, and was like, you clearly outplayed your opponent. I would like to see more of you. Nightmare, great smiting so far. I want to see more of him. Of course, we'll only see one of these teams in a couple of weeks, but we'll see where these guys go. Guys, we're going to go and take a quick break, but when you return, Tick, Trick, and Duck looks to close out this best of 3, move on to the semifinals against NIP. Don't go anywhere. The 2014 European Challenger Series quarterfinals will be right back.